This is Tom Doody, middle-aged American living in New Jersey near the Lincoln Tunnel. If you were to visit my website, you would type Howdy Doody into Google. You'll find the correct spelling of the famous puppet. You then combine Tom Doody in a Google search for my site. I have two things planned for this live stream. One is to read some text that I wrote, and the second on a different subject, text written by Der Spiegel, which is a German publication. They posted this text in English. I have titled this Hangout YouTube video, Take Two. The first one I did, and I was terribly anxious. I ended up in the L train terminal, and people weren't coming and going. People were stuck because the L train was down. So if you're at a terminal and there's no trains in any direction, because there is only one direction, and that direction was stopped. By chance, I was there. So the anxiety that I had ruined my ability to do what I plan to do now with greater comfort. I don't have my computer attached to a pole, which made me feel anxious because it's conspicuous. I think I'm less conspicuous now. I plan to read this text, Google Plus Hangouts on-air live stream from New York City F train. And I was like, that wasn't the F train, it wasn't the second and third choice, it was the L train. L train is a bad choice, so now I'm in the E and the 23rd. I don't know what it's like to be black. President Barack Obama knows, and described it once with a personal anecdote, including people locking their doors of cars upon seeing him. The president is double Ivy League man, which are mostly not black schools. So much of the president's life, he was a black man living in a white man's world, which makes his case different. Here, I will summarize a person's different case as an algorithm. Probably the most famous, highly curious algorithm is one used by Google to rank its search engine hits. I'm one of many persons who would love to have it. Another algorithm made famous is the Pop Hollywood, with the assistance of a Pop Hollywood stars, Jonah Hill and Brad Pitt in Moneyball. The algorithm described in that movie took MLB player performance statistics. With the help of computers, each player got ranked according to a resulting number. And Oakland A's were the first team to do anything noteworthy with this method of ranking players. I have a working mental algorithm to keep me out of trouble in NYC subways. During my Buckets inaugural month, I would attract attention of police officers. Their questions made me crazy anxious. I would navigate my bucket to new locations. And this process netted. These are my rules, or my guidelines, self-created guidelines. 1, mezzanines, where people pass with no obvious reason to loiter. Bad. Platforms where people wait. Good. Very high traffic areas. Bad. Anything Times Square. Bad. Times Square, except where musicians perform. Good. 5, low traffic, local stations outside of Manhattan. Good. My NYC subterranean mental algorithm navigates me to places where I attract no or little attention from NYPD. Now I'm live streaming with my computer attached to a pole. I'm not. It's sitting on my bucket. So all my research that goes into my mental algorithm is now suspect. Dear kind readers, if news of unarmed black people getting shot by white police got your attention and you had little empathy, please consider. Sincerely, Tom Doody. I am white, and I have no reason for a race factor in my mental NYC bucket algorithm because I'm always white. I could move from mezzanine to train deck, get little attention with NYPD, but I can't change my race. When I read this in Google Hangouts, I'll be live streaming from a low-risk location, but I had my computer attached to a pole, so I'll be more anxious. Okay, note, listeners, I do not have my computer attached to a pole. I am still more anxious. Though this has not always been true, I'm current on child support, I have a valid passport, I have no warrant for my arrest that I know of, and I have a valid driver's license. All of these factors go into my calculations when I live stream, and collectively they net my anxiety level. Dear kind readers, listeners, if you're following me, Times Square mezzanine level would be the most likely place for me to get the attention of NYPD, and if I were live streaming from Times Square mezzanine level, then I would be highly anxious. Sincerely, Tom Doody. Live streaming from, I'll read this accurately rather than the way I wrote it, 23rd Street. This is the uptown deck for the C and E train. So my anxiety would be manageable. But if I were black, I'd have reason to believe my anxiety would be as high as if I were live streaming from mezzanine level Times Square. I don't know what it means to be black, but I trust my president to believe it's different to being white. Topic 2 is this text from Der Spiegel. I think it's a remarkable report. It is way too long, so I just chose 4 paragraphs. My listeners, my purpose is to get someone's attention, and then you can find the link associated with this video. It should be easy to find, or you can find it on Der Spiegel. It's by Chris Reuter. The title is Terror Strategist's Secret Files Reveal the Structure of Islamic State. An Iraqi officer planned Islamic State's takeover of Syria, and Spiegel has been given exclusive access to his papers. Okay, this article is already remarkable, and it's in the first sentence, so I will repeat. An Iraqi officer planned Islamic State's takeover in Syria. Spiegel has been given exclusive access to its papers. Now, if this claim by Der Spiegel is accurate, then the complete intelligence of IS from their formation, from their founder, everything, their strategy, their playbook, has all been made available to Spiegel exclusivo. Now, I haven't seen the world media refer to this text as I expected it to. This text is at least a month old, probably maybe 2 months old, probably not much more than that. So anyways, IS, portray an organization that, while seemingly driven by religious fanaticism, is actually cold calculating. Samir Abd Muhammad al-Khalafawi is the real name of the Iraqi whose bony features were softened by white beard, but no one knew him by that name. Even his best-known pseudonym, Haji Bakar, wasn't widely known, but that was precisely part of the plan. The former colonel, intelligence service, Saddam Hussein's air defense force, had been secretly pulling the strings at IS for years. Former members of this group had repeatedly mentioned him as one of its leading figures. Still, it was never clear exactly what his role was. But when the architect of Islamic State died, he left something behind that he had intended to keep strictly confidential: the blueprint for his state. It was the folder of handwritten organization charts, lists, schedules, which described how a country can be gradually subjugated. Spiegel has gained exclusive access to the 31 pages, some consisting of several pages taped together, pasted together. They reveal a multi-level composition and directives for action, some already tested and others newly devised. For the anarchical situation in Syria's rebel-head territories, in a sense, the documents are the source code of the most successful terrorist army in recent history. In 2003, the Damascus regime was panicked when the U.S. President George W. Bush, after his victory over Saddam Hussein, would have his troops continue into Syria, topple Assad, and thus in the ensuing years, Syrian officials organized the transfer of thousands of radicals from Libya, Saudi Arabia, and Tunisia to Al-Qaeda in Iraq. 90% of the suicide attackers entered Iraq via the Syrian route. A strange relationship developed between Syrian generals, intelligent jihadists, and former Iraqi officers who had been loyal to Saddam Hussein. A joint venture of deadly enemies who met repeatedly to the west of Damascus. This is 4 paragraphs of like 30 paragraphs. It's a very long text for a newspaper. Well worth reading, and links are available attached to this YouTube audio and also with Der Spiegel. I'll read the title one more time. The writer is Christopher Reuter, and Der Spiegel gave this the headline: "The Terror Strategist's Secret Files Reveal the Structure of Islamic State." This has been Tom Doody, middle-aged American living in New Jersey near the Lincoln Tunnel. If you were to visit my website, you would type Howdy Doody into Google. You'll find the correct spelling of the famous puppet. You then combine Tom Doody in a Google search for my site. Thank you for listening. Have a good day, good evening, or restful night's sleep. Ciao.